too. And Jennifer, thanks for stopping by. Congratulations. First announce to people about Amazon.
Okay, yesterday was the big launch for my book, The Becoming Fire, the Chasing the Passion to Protect, Serve, and Love, a true crime memoir. And with the big launch yesterday, this morning I was woke up very early by my editor, Sherry Clarke, who also is a co-host with you on your show sometimes. And Sherry wanted me to know that my book was ranked at number 2 in the top new releases by Amazon. And I was just floored. I mean, it was like, wow, this is, wasn't expecting that. That was really cool. So that was our big news of today, was being
Yeah,
top
you got to
number
keep
2.
looking
Yeah.
because it's not
Yeah.
over yet. This is
No,
second day. You still have
no,
some.
it's not.
Yeah.
And we're still doing 99-cent sales on all the ebooks. So for people who are a Kindle or tablet reader, and I've got people that are telling me, hey, I'm ordering the book. I want you to autograph it, but I'm going to go ahead and get this ebook at 99 cents too, because I want to start reading it right now. So that was fantastic news for people. And I was just like shocked because I'm like, all right. And I knew people are ordering from different platforms because I'm with Ingram Spark as well as KDP, which is part of Amazon. And so people are ordering it from Walmart, they're ordering from Amazon, they're ordering it from Target. They're getting their book in a lot of different places. And so to make Amazon's number 2 in top new releases was very impressive. I thought I was shocked. Um, the other thing is Goodreads. The reviews coming in from the ARC readers has just it's humbling. I'm just shocked. I'm I can't say enough good about it. It overwhelmed me this morning sitting there reading the reviews, and I know I was told not to, but I did.
All right. Well, that's great news.
Thank you.
All right. Who's our guest today?
Today is former Detective Scott Klein, who I have not seen in almost 36 years,
Wow.
and he is also the CEO of First Witness, and I'm going to let him tell you and everybody else about that particular business and how it came about today, because it's a pretty impressive story, I think. And it started way back in the day when I knew him. Um, Scott Klein is mentioned or starts being mentioned in my book in chapter 26. I promise the chapters are short, folks. But in chapter 26 is where you get introduced to Detective Scott Klein of the Waynesboro, Virginia Police Department. And he had an informant by the name of Jimmy. Um, and myself and my topside agent, Special Agent Charlie Wyatt, began to work with Scott. It was Scott's job, along with Charlie's job, to keep surveillance on me while I was working undercover. So they were 2 blocks, 6 blocks, wherever they had to be, watching me day or night whenever I was out working and trying to buy drugs or dealing with any of the gang members who were always armed. Um, they were like my overwatch. They were the people protecting me, but they were also making sure that they recorded everything, which back then was on cassettes that came through the Keltec body wire that I used to wear under my right arm. And they made sure that all the batteries were functioning and everything was in my car. The undercover Z28 that I drove made sure that was all functioning. They kept all of that stuff documented. They had to listen to every word. It was not like they could sit there and socialize, because they've got to hear what's happening with me and the people I worked undercover and was buying from and dealing with. Uh, then it was Scott out there trying to get photos and video. And that's kind of where we get into his First Witness business, because Scott, you want to tell people about what you were doing when you were surveilling me?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Um, yeah, primarily, we'd wire everybody up, and y'all would go out, and we'd have to, we always decided, hey, we're going to be in this block radius, try not to go mobile. So we'd be back, anywhere from about 4 blocks away to 6 blocks away, depending on the target area. And a lot of times, we try to get eyes on, but well, you remember there in Stanton, you had the hill, and there in Waynesboro, you had what they called the hill too. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty hilly terrain around here, so
Yes, it
sometimes we
is.
can get a good advantage, sometimes you can't.
Yeah, well, you had trees and you had bushes, you had people's yards, and then there's folks that
Wow.
are just looking at 2 white guys sitting in a car in a neighborhood going, why are you here? Who are you?
Yeah. Charlie didn't look too suspicious, did he?
No, no, not Charlie. Not yeah. Scott blended right in.
Yeah, I believe it a little bit better than Charlie. Charlie just read state police.
Yeah, yeah. No, just a little bit. Yeah, but no, you were out there. So where did you get that fancy lens for the camera back then, back in 1989? Where did that fancy camera lens come from? It was like 4 foot long.
Oh
Must have weighed 20 pounds.
yeah. No, we got that from Cameron Palette, and then I was doing a little bit of research and talking with the gentleman down there, and he ended up we came up with what's called a adapter, a C adapter that ended up going over to to our single lens reflex camera that
Right.
really got us out there quite far.
Yeah.
With that.
Mm.
And we really did get some pretty good pictures from good distance away. And
I,
we just learned to kind of surveil the area prior. And we were lucky because
yeah.
when back in the day it was always in a certain geographical area. So we
Yeah.
had pre-planned areas that we could go. We knew beforehand, the neighbors either gave us permission or they knew that we were going to be tromping around their backyard. But
Mm.
it really kind of grew from there.
Yeah. I remember buying from a guy named Maurice, and trust me, I had to go back and look at old paperwork to remember that name. But I did remember that when he made the deals with me out near the barbershop area, he would always wear this red T-shirt. And I didn't know his name at that point because we hadn't identified him, because he was like one of those people that just kind of showed up in the picture. And Jimmy wasn't really familiar with what they called him or what his name was. And we
Yeah.
were trying to figure out who he was. And you had these great pictures of him, because I flat told everybody, I said, well, he's in a red T-shirt and it has a pocket on it. And he showed up to court for the trial wearing the same red T-shirt with the pocket. I'm thinking, just like, because when we were testifying and we had the photos and all of the deal, and they wanted me to describe it, and I just sort of pointed at him. It looks like the shirt he's wearing today. It's and it was. It was his favorite T-shirt, I guess.
I
But,
guess so.
yeah,
It was a
but you
unique
took
uniform.
that picture at a really good long distance, because there wasn't a close place to get on that one. So that
Yeah.
picture was actually really good back in the day. And
Yeah.
yeah, because he was the guy in the red T-shirt until we figured out what his name was. And yeah, so everything. But yeah, I don't think he liked that he wore the wrong clothes for court that day. I'm not sure.
No. But then after your time there and you moved on, the next group, because we really didn't have any video much while
No.
you were there, correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
The next group, what happened was Judge Bumgarner, who was a great circuit court judge. I mean, he was just one of the best. But he got word back to us. He said, "Hey, look, I mean, it was great when you were there because you were an agent and you could identify the people. Well, some of the cases, going forward, we didn't have you there. We didn't have any other agents or any other police officers. So he wanted a little bit more than just the CIs going into court and testifying against the people. So he said, look, either you need to get a police officer to identify the person at the scene after the deal, make sure that they're there, or get us better, video evidence or photographic evidence. And back then, video was just at its infancy.
Yeah.
So what we ended up doing, I went back down to Gitchell's or Cameron Palette. Got one of the old, timey VCR camcorder VCRs, where it's literally a
The big
VCR.
ones?
Yeah, it's literally a two-part. Remember those?
Yeah.
And so anyway, so we ended up putting together for less than $200, taking a lens, a camera that we got from a bank, night vision, and then that recorder and putting it in the back of the cars with a bunch of batteries and everything. And we went out and just made amazing videos. In that particular group, we indicted over 200, had 255 indictments with 89 subjects, all the way from up in New York to D.C. down to Richmond that were coming in.
Yeah.
And the informant that we're using at the time had literally, you could take his criminal record, hold it up, scroll it down, and it would go 8 feet across the floor. He had like 40 some misdemeanor convictions, 8 felonies, one of which was a perjury conviction.
Jeez.
And we went out and did 3 buys using him. Did it all, got it all on video. Took it around to all 3 Commonwealth attorneys in the area, and said, "Look, here's his record. Here's the evidence on video. Will you convict?" And they said, "Yeah, no problem at all, as long as you have it on video, just like that." And so what we would do is on video, we would literally go in, search him on video in front of the car, hand him an evidence bag, hand him the money. He would get back in the car, and then they would do their thing. We started out doing it that way, and then they would hold up the rock or put it in the bag, and then on video show us taking it away from the person. And in that instance, 255, there was only one person that went to trial, and he was convicted. And the only reason why we didn't have that on video, it was after the initial raids.
Okay.
And the guy was skeptical. He said, "Oh yeah, you got the video, or somebody's out here video, and come back to the back of the car."
Okay. So what you did is you took the 69 people that I did, and you guys wanted to raise that up and quadruple it on me. You're just trying to outdo me. But you got video going. How many agencies back in, that was 1992 or so, how many agencies were using that sort of technology anywhere in the Virginia area or Maryland that you know of?
None, because after we did that, the word started getting around to the other task force, and they started calling and going, "Hey, where'd you get the equipment? Where'd you get the equipment?" And I was like, "We just put it together." And they were like, "Well, can you do it for us?" And then the little light bulb went off. They go, "Huh, I may be able to make some money here." So instead of spending $130 some, we got I got with B&H Photo. They had some really nice JVC VCRs at the time with a little pop-up screen player. Bought those, put them in a Pelican case, put together the whole thing, did a mailer to all the agencies that were asking. Orange County and York County were my first 2 customers.
Yeah.
And sold those systems for about $7,000 a piece. And it just went from there. We ended up being the largest covert video manufacturer in the United States for a number of years. It was a really good run. We had 30-some employees and a bunch of engineers. We actually ended up manufacturing our own boards.
Nice.
Wow.
It was a good run. It really was. It all started with you.
No, yeah, sort of. I didn't get in on the money end of it. I'm just going to bring that out right now, just to let you know.
There's some you're gonna have to get even, right?
No, I think it's
I'll buy a
fantastic.
couple books.
Buy 2, yeah. But I was going to say, nanny cams. Is that you?
Yes, yeah.
You were the nanny cam guy.
Yes, back in the day, because our business, well, you know how government agencies go. You either got money or you don't got money.
Exactly.
And back in those days, when we were selling to law enforcement, it got to the point where I ended up having to make a decision. Look, I'm losing money. My wife first left. She was a police dispatcher for a time. But my wife left first to run the business, and it just got to the point where whenever I went to work, we were losing pretty substantial amount of money per month when I was couldn't dedicate the full time to the business. So we made a decision. Okay, let's go ahead and see how this thing goes. And yeah, we ended up uh, having kind of a dual business. We had a bunch of dealers. We didn't sell to the general public at all. We would only sell direct to law enforcement and government agencies. But
That's
we
smart.
ended up with Super Circuits, LEA. Remember AID that did the body wires? They
Right.
became one of our bigger customers.
Yep.
And back in the day when they came out with the nanny cams, all that was our stuff. So anything that you saw on ABC, NBC, CBS, where they were doing the undercover stuff with the nanny cams and the clock radios, every
Yeah.
piece of that equipment came from one of our dealers up there in the New York area through us that we manufactured.
Well, I know at ATF when I was doing undercover there, we eventually started having. It took a while, but we finally got some money in our agency, and our tech guys started buying things like the clock radios and other type things. There was a lamp I believe we used in one of
Yeah.
our deals at a hotel. So we just
Yep.
replaced the hotel lamp with our lamp. You couldn't have told the difference. They were both, cheap Kmart lamps.
Yep.
Yeah, and of course they had a camera lens in them, and everybody thought that was just like the ooh ah, everything. And those cameras would have been giant compared to like right now's technology. But
Yep.
but for us having not seen that, and here we are in the mid '90s, mid to latter '90s, all that stuff started coming out. But I had no idea that it was Scott Klein from Waynesboro Police Department who had followed me around for 6 months with a 20-foot camera lens. It looked like.
Oh yeah.
That thing was big. It was a long white camera lens, but that it was you that had said, "Hey, we got to do better. We got to do better." And did any of that come from trying to surveil me all the way over to Buchanan County, across two mountains and back and forth, and then back home again? Because
Oh,
that was a
absolutely.
crazy day. Yeah, because that was a crazy day.
Yes, it was. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's because I mean, really, I mean, when you think about it, I mean, your cases, they were all slam dunks because you're an agent, witnessing it and doing the hand to hand. The cases, and literally out of thousands of cases that I did, none of the hand to hand buys, none of the larger cases, I ever lost. I mean, literally, I could count on two fingers the number of cases, and they were possession cases that I
Wow.
lost
Yeah.
before. But it's especially when we got the video. I mean, when we had those 255 cases, well, me and my wife were had just got married, and we literally decided, hey, we're going to put our honeymoon off and put this off for a while because I'm going to be tied up in court. And literally every single one of those cases, because we did direct indictments, they were done in under 90 days.
Wow. But defense attorneys had never seen anything like that.
They
That's a whole,
never,
and they didn't even
no,
have anybody, regionally they could even call and say, what do you do to defend against a video of your
yep,
client doing a deal? And the answer is nothing. 'Cause there is
no, no,
nothing.
I'll never forget the one attorney. He's like, well, how do you know it was my client that did it? I was like, you got a VCR, I'll put the tape in, and we can watch it. He said, what?
So Jennifer, he basically was an entrepreneur, left the police department to be an entrepreneur, it sounds like.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Scott became this, he found a niche, a niche that needed to be filled for law enforcement across the country, turned that into a business and started marketing to law enforcement, state, local, federal, anybody that wanted to buy the equipment that was law enforcement and use it. He showed them how he was using it in law enforcement.
Right.
And so he's his own marketing at that point, because all you do is play a video for people, and they're going, "How did you get that on tape?" Yeah, he did quite well with this, and it's great to know that he founded First Witness, because that was a big company for a lot of law enforcement to buy from. Um, and then the nanny cam thing is like really cool, because that of course became a really, when did that get started anyway? Was that late '90s, Scott? Nanny cams?
That was it was late 90s around basically I pretty much left the department in 95, and then 98, 99 and 2000 really started ramping up. And then when 9/11 hit, the a lot of the stuff went over, towards terrorism.
Right.
And then by around about 2004 or so, unfortunately, the Chinese and a lot of people were starting to get into the market because they saw how lucrative it was. And with the general public, I'll never forget ADI, not AID, but ADI. They were one of the largest alarm distributors in the country at the time. And we refused to put audio in because of the Title III laws and everything, and
Right.
federal law is very specific about you can't have any covert audio. So we
Right.
never put microphones or anything into the nanny cams or anything. It's like, look, it's video, nothing, because there still really isn't a law on videotaping. There is quite
Yeah.
extensively for audio.
Right.
So
A lot of
anyway,
it on it. One party consent versus two party. And Maryland is a two party state. You live very close to there. Virginia
Right.
is a one party state. One party consent or two party consent, and it's a big deal in Maryland.
Right. Well, and not only that, but under the federal law,
Yes.
just the mere possession of a wiretapping equipment is illegal for civilians. So
Right.
you can't even possess, like a lighter or some of the stuff that AID used to have that we used to use in the undercover field. You can't even possess that as civilians. So anyway, long story short, we kind of lost a lot of our market share in the civilian market because we refused to put the audio in. And I'll never forget, I was sitting in the guy's office, and he was adamant about us having audio in. I'm like, no, we're not going to do it. And he said, you're going to walk away from $1 million deal because you won't put audio. I was like, no. He said, our attorneys have already said it's okay. I said, I don't care what your attorney said. I can read the code section. And I literally got up and walked away.
Oh, wow.
6 months later, 127 of his facilities got raided by the feds.
Yeah.
Because
So
they went out and got the wrong stuff. It wasn't for
He's creating wiretapping devices.
so Scott, so Jennifer, I just wanted to get Scott to tell us what his latest venture is before we run out of time. So what's happening?
I'm retired.
You retired young.
Yeah. I'm retired young.
So that's
God. No, I do some work for attorneys, just having fun doing some investigative stuff for them. But other than that, that's it.
You dabbled with airplanes and helicopters and a little bit of everything, didn't you? And little global travel.
Yeah. During that run, actually, the Virginia State Police, I always wanted to fly, so ended up buying a helicopter, and we started a flight school. And Virginia State Police actually, I think, sent like nine of their pilots up to be trained on our helicopter at the time.
Nice.
So,
and how many helicopters did you have?
I had 3 at one time.
That's pretty nice.
So you need to write your story, Scott, after Jennifer did.
No, she got better stories than I probably.
I don't think so. You have some pretty interesting ones, Scott.
That's pretty good.
Especially growing as that entrepreneur and stuff like that. Yeah. So fantastic. Well, yeah. So people, basically, you're retired, you're doing some part-time work and having fun.
Yes, sir. Yep. Enjoying life. Yep. I've been very blessed. I really have. It's and the thing is, still have great memories of Jennifer and the work back then. And that was the biggest, hardest part, Neil, was saying, look, what made the big decision to leave law enforcement? Because you really do help people in that. You do make a difference, especially in a community our size. But the deciding factor was like, look, our video equipment, we were getting hundreds of people off the street. But nationwide, I got literally thousands of people, because we dealt with over 1,000 agencies throughout the years, along with 3 different countries that use our equipment. And yeah, Maryland actually sent a helicopter down one afternoon to pick me up to go up and do a room. And then the next day, somebody of high-ranking Maryland authority was on the news.
All right.
So
Wow.
I mean, it's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
so impressive. And people can find information by going to jenniferclarkesq.com. Pick up her book. It says 99 cents. We're live streaming right now for only a short more period of time. People need to jump on that quickly. So I appreciate it, Jennifer. And thanks, Scott. Unbelievable story. And you're part of the book. So you tell everyone to go pick it up so they can read your chapter.
Yes, sir.
All right.